Oh, hello everyone. My name is Dara Rath, and I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. And each week I bring you a story that takes about 5 minutes to watch. Some of them are funny and some of them make you think about life or think about the situations that you're in your world. So this particular story is in a book called Kindness Matters by Amy Newmark, and the title is Sundays at 7. Karen's chilling words echoed through the phone as I choked back tears and tried to hide my fear and disbelief. I struggled to find the right thing to say. For the first time, I was speechless in a conversation with my very best friend. When we moved to different states after college graduation, our constant phone conversations became a lifeline that sustained our connection. When she gave birth to her daughter a few months after our son was born, our bond strengthened as we tackled the challenges of colicky babies and curious toddlers. A few years later, it was exciting to be pregnant again at the same time, and we shared the woes of nausea and breast tenderness common in the first trimester. A few days earlier, Karen had mentioned that while clenching the side of her aching breast, she had discovered a pea-sized formation. While she waited for test results and started to worry, I reminded her that the doctor assured her it was likely nothing. She was 32 years old and in perfect health with no family history of cancer. When the phone rang, I was certain my advice would return to choosing preschools and researching the latest baby gear. Instead, I was desperately searching for the perfect message of comfort as she shared her biopsy results. "It's breast cancer," she said. While no words seemed sufficient, I channeled my anger at the unfairness of it all into a photo album filled with positive quotes, funny memories, and uplifting poems. I lived 4 states away, and if I couldn't be there beside my best friend at her stressful doctorate appointments, this was the best to next best thing I could think of. A cancer diagnosis at any age is awful, but to face this so young and while pregnant seemed exceptionally cruel. As I rushed to the post office to express mail my token of support, it felt absolutely inadequate. Over the next year, any gesture of encouragement seemed too small or too invasive. As I searched the Hallmark display cards designed to cheer up and look funny, but it was not funny. As Karen met with oncologists and underwent a mastectomy during her pregnancy, I constantly looked for the right way to offer support in her greatest time of need. Was I calling her too much or too often? I often felt paralyzed by indecision on how I could help. Years later, when my dad received his own devastating cancer diagnosis, a small but a significant gesture from his friend Mike taught me a simple yet powerful way to offer just the right amount of steady support. It can be applied to almost any difficult situation, no matter the distance. He gave my dad Sundays at 7. My father, Fred, and Mike became fast friends early on in their careers at Penn State University. When his position required him to relocate to Philadelphia, 200 miles away, my dad stopped by Mike's office any time he returned to the college's main campus in central Pennsylvania. In September 2014, instead of a routine visit for meetings with colleagues, my dad abruptly packed up his office. After a sudden gastrointestinal symptoms and rapid weight loss, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and forced to resign from his current duties to begin an aggressive treatment regimen near his home. Always thinking of others, my dad remained positive and strong with my mom, my brother, and me. He shared his fears about preparing his family for his death and his deep sadness about not being able to watch the 4 young grandchildren he adored grow up. Mike listened, and at the end of their tearful visit said, "Fred, can I call you this Sunday at 7? My dad thanked him for the therapeutic talk, but also assured him he didn't need to go to any more trouble. What Mike called that Sunday, unsure whether my dad would answer. At the end of another emotional conversation, he said, "Fred, can I call you next Sunday at 7?" And so, each Sunday, Mike offered an outlet for my dad during a trying time. During a dark week, my dad knew he had a glimmer of light awaiting him in his weekly conversation. He found great comfort in a listening ear when he could be honest about the highs and lows of his cancer journey. Mike looked forward to his guaranteed time to catch up with his dear friend and cherished their talks. His wife, Susie, says their ritual was just as helpful to Mike as it was to my dad. Through 52 chemotherapy treatments, Mike called each Sunday at 7. Through the lows of learning the tumor would never be operable, Mike called at 7. Through CAT scans that continued to show stable cancer, Mike called Sunday at 7. It has now been 7 years of Sundays at 7. My dad's tumor miraculously remains stable. He jokes that he is superstitious that Mike's phone calls have brought him good luck, so they can't stop now. Perhaps there is true value in the therapeutic part of emotional support. Turns out we don't need to have the perfect words of comfort, celebrate elaborate gifts, or desperately search the aisles of Hallmark. The greatest support we can give a friend in their time of need is an offer of ourselves, a promise of a consistent call with a caring heart. A listening ear doesn't cost a thing, but is priceless gesture of just the right size. It's as simple as, "Can I call you this Sunday at 7?" And this is written by Jennifer Kennedy. Thank you, Jennifer Kennedy. What wonderful advice for us, because we do have so many friends who are often diagnosed with cancer. So, thanks for taking 5, and blessings on your day.